Hello, Bjarne, it's Christoph again.
Hello. Let's see if this works better.
Microsoft software are capricious.
Yeah. If this doesn't work, we should pick another time where I can contact from home rather than from work. Because if this doesn't work, it must be my network connection from work.
Okay, I understand. So there is an IM. Let's take your proposition. I write to you the sentence by IM. We talk together about the topic. So the last sentence which was in problem, are you surprised about the entire success of C++ by all the years you spent working on?
I'm very surprised. I started working on C++ C classes as a developer at the time, just to do something for myself, and then a bit later for myself and some of my friends and colleagues. And I seem to have gotten a really good problem that a lot of people face. And so our solution was also quite reasonable. So it survived. I wrote right. Um, it shouldn't be survived because I had no major risk factor, no marketing, and so and lots of conversation in the early days. There was here that everybody was going to take over the world. And then there was Java and now there are many other languages. And almost all the years, the C++ community has kept growing. There was a side dip around 2005, but now there's 1.5 million C++ programmers. In 2005, it was 3 million. In 96, when Java came out and they declared they were going to finish with C++ in 2 years, it was 1 million. So they just grown. And of course, nobody could have sort of expected this. Most of them have strong backers and strong marketing to succeed, but we managed anyway.
My personal opinion is that this is the best of the best of the C, the best of the objective oriented programming. And when I'm doing a lot of system programming, and when I am in the debugger, and when I look about the assembly lines that are generated by the C++ compiler, it's very short. So this is what we love. It's performance, it's speed, it's uh, it's
The original idea was that C++ should do two things well. It should be good at manipulating hardware, and it should be good at providing really cheap abstraction because you don't want to be down the hardware all the time. And those are sort of the two strains in C++. The low level, highly efficient use of hardware comes from C, and the abstraction mechanism specifically came from Similar. But C++ is never meant to be purely object oriented for at least for the normal definitions of object oriented. It's supposed to be good at abstraction in general. And even from the first days, we were thinking about, I was thinking about parameterization, looking templates and concepts.
yes. I have a question which is not in the list. When I was learning C++ in the Windows land, there was something which was called Microsoft Foundation Classes, the MFC, which was a big framework for doing Windows graphical interface. And there was not the usage of the standard template library. And in my learning steps, I first learned the C++ and then the STL. and the STL was a major step because under the Microsoft umbrella, the compiler was not supporting all the various functionalities of the templates. They were using macro. There was a lot of DS define and there was a lot of macro. Um,
Mhm.
how do you see at the first time when you saw the standard template library, how do you feel when you saw the exclusive usage of templates? There was template everywhere. It was um, what wasn't so difficult at first sight to consider this, or it was very wanted by the Stepanov and everything in HP for doing templates like this.
At the time,
Templates like this.
at the time, I was working with templates, and of course, I designed the templates, and I designed them specifically so that they would be very flexible and generate very good code, um, especially through the use of inlining. And I talked to Stefanov about it before, but when I saw his STL, I was first very surprised and thought it was somewhat ugly. But then I checked my checklist of what I wanted from a standard container library, and I saw that what he had produced met my criteria better than anything else. There was only about one thing on my list that they didn't do. And so, after looking at it for a few days, I packed it and invited Alex to come to the Sanders page to present the stuff. And I'm very happy with it. I think actually the STL and the techniques by it development helped C++ immensely in the 90s, gave the flexibility and performance that it needs to maintain usage.
Yes,
Not 90% of civilians.
yes. Yes, I remember the years when in the C++ it was the Visual C++ 6 edition. It was a very popular compiler, but a dirty compiler with a
Yes,
lot of permissive stuff. And
yes.
we were playing with various editions of the standard template library. There was STL port, there was Stingray, there was HP, there was Microsoft One, and
This was this was very difficult times in the C++ world, in the Microsoft world. I did not use Microsoft 5 or 6 because I thought they were pretty hard. One thing we should mention is that their compilers and their libraries these days are much, much better. And I'm actually a fan of the Visual Studio for C++. It's a good way of, it's a really nice tool, especially for experimentation.
yes,
And
yes.
so they have recovered. We shouldn't be too worried about them because they do recover.
Yes, because the Microsoft, uh, people don't like Microsoft because they are doing a lot of visual wizard to make programming easier. But the fact is that the Visual C++, as the MVP, I am in contact with the Visual C++ team and the team of Marianne Louparou and Herb Sutter and Stéphane Telavayev. They have done
Yeah.
a huge job to take this MSVC compiler and bring it as a competitor to GCC and LLVM Clang. It's
Yes.
beautiful to see that now in the Microsoft Clang, Microsoft world, we are not anymore dirty little ducks without compliance to the ISO standard.
All the major compilers have good ISO compliance, and a lot of credit goes to the Microsoft team, my friend Gary Race, and also Jonathan.
Yes.
they've got modules in, they've now got concepts in. They're coming very strong on the C++ 20 features. The current code changes C++ 20 comes out of there, thanks to Kardashev. So they have evolved quite nicely. But frankly, those which refers with what was it? Their foundation libraries, not quite free compilers or browsers. On the other hand, if you go back into the GCC, they run 2.9, but they got going on too.
Yes. My next question is what you talk about is about ISO compliance. Is it now we know the truth, it's crucial and important. But how did you get the idea a long time ago to really go to the standard? What was the motivation?
I did not and so an HP turned up my office at Bell Labs and told me that I wanted to standardize C++ under the ISO rules. And my first reaction was what? And the second reaction was, we're not ready. We haven't finished the design. We can't standardize now. And then they spent an hour explaining to me that I really, really wanted to do that because if I didn't, they would do it themselves and they knew they could do it as well as I could. And so in the end, I agreed. And in a year after I had gotten templates and exceptions ready, I joined. And so I was there for the first meeting and I've been there for lots of meetings since. I think I've been at about 70 or 75 meetings, something like that. And the last meeting here in Prague was with C++20.
You mean it's if you were not part of this action, IBM and HP would have made a separation with the C++ language you design. It should have been they would made a fork. Do you think they
Um, are you sitting too far from your microphone or something? That
no?
could be the problem
You hear me?
because now we're breaking up again. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, does it mean that IBM was letting you no choice? It was ISO C++ or a fork to another C++ language?
They said this was what should be done. They said, pointed out quite recently that corporations like Sun, HP, and IBM could not build their infrastructure based on a language controlled by a corporation that wasn't theirs. And they very kindly pointed out to me that they, of course, would trust me, but they couldn't trust my employer, whoever my employer was. And so they brought that to me in an ISO standard. Later, we've of course seen with Java and C Sharp that people are actually willing to do work on something that hasn't been standardized and is owned by one corporation. But at that time, that was considered impossible. And so I can't take credit for having gotten the idea. I'll take some credit for having stuck with it for many, many years and helped create a good standard.
Okay, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. I have another question. By all the years, uh, do you think it's the best? It's a good way that C++ uh, has evolved so much with so many features in the recent years. Is it a good thing to put a lot of new stuff? Is it an opportunity or a way to say I pick up all the interesting things from different language and it comes to a whole language called C++. Do it whatever you want. It's still C++, but it's functional, it's assembly, it's C, it's C++, your OP, it's your C++ with all the features.
Now, now there is this idea that a lot of people have that language comes up perfect out of the brain of some omniscient designer. That's not just not the way it is. I knew very well that my initial C++ wasn't complete. There were things I wanted it to do that I couldn't. On the other hand, I needed to have my ideas tested for real use and get feedback from real users. And then once I had that feedback, I could improve it. So it was always designed to evolve. And I actually consider it good engineering because you're building and improving based on feedback. Then, of course, this is not all that comes. You already know stuff. I was not fully aware of that when I started, but there's a lot of C++ that is not code and other ways of doing it. Because some of the things you do is you can write programs, you write syntaxes, libraries, language features that allows you to do things better. Better code, write simpler code, easier to understand code. And then if you need to get out use the old stuff. This is, by the way, one of the reasons I work on coding guidelines because you have to guide people towards new stuff, just like you have to teach them new stuff, but you should also have rules and tools.
You can always program like our father, and we can program using the modern way.
But you
Always.
don't have to.
Yes. Um, my question is
So I'm
simple.
working on the. Let me just follow up on this. But also work on the core guidelines project to create a set of rules that help people move forward and use C++ as a modern language, type safe and resource safe.
Yes.
And I'm encouraging work on static analysis to enforce such rules. I do that partly because it has proven impossible to actually change the language, subset the language, in such a way that if you get rid of the old uses, you have to go the way of guidelines and support.
Okay. The, for the last features of the recent C++ 20 and C++ 17, what is your favorite feature and what is the most popular, do you think? So what is the best feature you like in C++ 20?
Is the first major revision of the standards in C++ 11. 14 and 17 are not that major in my opinion. I define major as changing the way you think.
Okay.
And my favorite features in C++ 20 is modules that will give us code hygiene and much faster compilers, and concepts that will finally give us decent interfaces to sharing code, decent interfaces for templates, and coroutines. Finally, getting coroutines back again. They were a major part of C++, a major part of C++ success. But now people didn't see it, and we didn't get into the standard. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. I hear you a lot. It's very
My,
interesting. The
can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. When you talk about the
Hello?
modules, hello, you hear me?
Okay, it's just Skype said it had lost connection. So that's libraries.
You hear me now?
Hello, I'm there.
Yes.
I hear you.
When you talk about modules,
Yes.
the revolution of modules is that for new learners, it's easier to let them understand how does the include works because the preprocessor stuff and the way to include the right files in the right order is something a nightmare for students because they are not perfectly well organized.
You're right. That was what I meant by code hygiene. If you include two modules A and B, A before B, you get exactly the same as if you include B before A. That's not truly biased. The other thing is that you can have a much larger granularity. I think we should have import SCD that gives you all in the standard library, that can be very cheap instead of having the include files and then including them in each of your source files and then go and compiling things from scratch 100 times because you include things 100 times. Imports and exports are much better at that. Just because you use something in an implementation of a module doesn't mean that your user has to see everything that you use in the implementation. Whereas if you use include files, if you include something, it is transitively included in somebody else's. That kind of stuff is just wrong. Most modern languages have had it for a long time, C++, because of its history and going back to C in the early 1970s, didn't have it till now. This will make the language much easier to use, both by expert experts and from novices. There'll be a transition time. We will learn how to use it at scale, big inertia things where improvements in design will be significant, and also into a teaching material, into the things that you can have notices. You mentioned the travel for C++. The next edition will have more emphasis on modules, even though the current edition already mentions them, because everything in C++20 exists somewhere already, so we've been able to try and find.
Module is very important because when I look at the Windows source code I have in NDA, or when I look at a big project like Chromium, when you look at the total, all the files which are included, you can't deep dive into the code if you don't have make vacancies during 3 months learning the source code day and night. It's a nightmare because there is 50 lines of
Yes.
includes just to import one single stuff, a little stuff, for example, an URL.
We've known these problems. We've known these problems for about 40 years, and they keep getting worse. But there was two problems. What do you do instead? That's relatively easy. And how do you then get from the include world to the module world? And getting a transition in place is quite hard. We've been working on that in the standards committee, and we now have experience with it at Microsoft and at Google, and the GCC is coming soon.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, it means you rewrite your software. It's two different source code. You can't transform your
You're
existing.
breaking up again.
You can't transform your existing source code.
I can't hear you.
Okay. Um, let's. Do you hear me?
In many cases, people, and I hear you not well. I was going to say that in some cases, to get the benefits, you have to transform some of your source code. And people will be willing to do that because they get major benefits from it. I have seen simple little programs that compiled 20 times faster. And 25 times people are willing to do modifications.
20 times. It's 20 times. It's marvelous.
Yeah, not everybody will get it 20 times, but 2 times, 4 times, 7 times, that's also worth it, right? And some of the work can be done at the library vendors, so there's not everybody who has to do it. So if you're shipping a library like the standard library, you have a library vendor who will do most of the work for you.
Important because when I worked for medical libraries, we are making a lot of imaging processes, and our trade library and picture library take a lot of time to compile, and it makes hours and hours on the build system. And if we do modules and we can divide the compile time by two or three,
Yeah.
it would be a revolution because everything should be shipped more easily. The unit test,
Yeah.
the build.
And I would be disappointed if it's only 2 or 5.
Okay, it's great. It's more than great. Two or five, it's a pity.
Yes. And the benefits is what will make people actually willing to get the bugs out. Will make people actually willing to get the bugs out of their code. Also, you will get bugs out of your code. There's a fair number of bugs that comes from auto dependencies between header files, and they will go away. Nobody who has modularized a piece of code has failed to find problems. It is a good way of debugging. The code gets cleaner.
Okay, it's no more preprocessor, copy, open file, and paste. It's if you don't use it, there is an error.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has been my aim for a long, long time to get rid of the preprocessor. Macros are really bad. It interferes with true building for C++, and the include files non-structs and slows down compilation and gives some bugs. We're making major progress here.
Okay. Okay, but when I see, I think about macro. When you think about a popular framework like Qt, there are always some kind of macro. Uh,
Yeah.
it's still in the modern build because of the legacy software we have all in the world. It's less and less implemented, but the macros are still here for making compilation available.
It's going to,
Yes.
yeah. It will take time and it'll be work, but people are willing to do work when they can see they get something for their work. I expected when I presented some of this to really see some experienced industrial developers. They would say, "Oh, it's too difficult. We found such bad code, etc." Their reaction was very surprising to me. It was, "Great, finally we can get rid of all of those bugs."
Yeah. Yeah, I
They are
understand.
willing to do the work because they see the benefit. You can't just tell people to do something because it's good. You have to show them what the benefits are so they can do it.
Yes, in the embedded world, things like array are very beneficent uh, for non-memory capabilities problem allocation. For application, we need to allocate memory first and then be memory constant. This kind of STL container is, I think, are popular for new developers. Uh, for example, in the embedded world, when people need to allocate memory at the beginning of the application, the array container is something good, which because they allocate memory at the beginning of the program, and then they get what they want. They do not need to make any more allocation.
That's
Uh,
right.
I think
Oh,
it's that kind of innovation that people in the legacy land are waiting for.
yeah. I mean, they don't have the standard array. I understand that if you are doing, um, say, flight software or some of the automobile software, you mustn't use physical, use dynamic memory, because you could get fragmentation and it is not predictable in terms of performance. And so one of the rules of the game is that you cannot allocate memory after you turn the engine on, and um, you can never delete memory. So you need sort of fixed allocation stuff. And I think that's reasonably well supported.
Okay.
I would like to see standard fluid and static allocators because they can be used under high reliability rules. Everybody has them, they're just not standard yet. It is a very nice approach. I try to get some of that already updated, so we'll get back to that.
Um, I have recently saw the C++ core guidelines, and I was asking myself why it is not a books. Why did you choose to make it popular with Herbsutter as a free GitHub repository? It's a gift to the community,
People.
free, and it's time to give them the correct rules to apply in the modern C++ programming. It's a guidance.
Yeah. This is not a for-profit operation.
Yes.
I have my salary, has his salary. We don't need to charge people for that. And if we had to charge people for it, they probably won't use it.
And do you think the GLS is something which will be incorporated in the standard, or maybe it's my memory; it's already in it. Uh, what is your point of view about the GLS?
Make the GLS redundant and get rid of it by absorbing it into the standard. This has already happened with the span. Very important. We didn't get contracts, which would have gotten rid of contracts in the GSL. And we don't in the standard have an owner thing, but the owner would be provided as an attribute. So basically, my aim with the GSL is to make it redundant. We shouldn't have it. It would be
Okay.
much better if we could do guidelines, establishing of the guidelines without any help from a specific guidelines profile.
Okay. Okay. Um, I have a little.
And by the way, one thing, it's not just me and Sarah.
Okay.
There's some people that's been involved all the time, That's the set of people who approve it and have meetings every week about it. And Herb and I are just sort of the names up on front. It's not just a two-person project.
Okay, I understand. Okay, I understand. I understand. I have a personal question which I ask myself when I learned the move semantic. I found it very strange. The operator, the a the pointer and the reference and yes
Yes.
English, and it makes me sometimes. I was furious first because I was thinking of the Microsoft extension with the at and the ugly stuff, and then I made some effort. I read the book, I try the samples, and I saw it was covered by the library and it was completely transparent and don't need to use it for myself.
That's right. The way I recommend its use is just sort of define the way I recommend its use is just sort of define the operators, let the compiler figure out when to use it, mostly for the return from a function, and that's it. I don't actually go and use stdmove or have lots of virtual arguments. That's just confusing. Constructors, move constructors, move assignments.
Okay. Um, it's my choice. When I don't master the stuff, I don't use it. I don't want confusing stuff in the software. So if I don't know what it is doing, I don't use it. But first, I was furious because I was thinking it was a difficult stuff for new learners. But when I saw there was no need to use std move and stdref everywhere, I feel okay. It exists, but I don't have to use it everywhere.
That's right. I think that it was taught very badly by some people because they wanted to tell everything, they want to show every little fancy trick. Um, you can teach um, most of the useful uses of move semantics without ever saying how I do reference. You just say, this is how you write a move constructor, this is how you write a move assignment, let's get on with it.
Yes.
Even little babies age 6 months understand the difference between copy and move.
Yes.
If you move something from your right hand to your left hand, you move it, you don't copy it.
Surprised because all the items from this Addison Wesley Red Book, which was not an Addison Wesley, it was an O'Reilly thing. It was an O'Reilly. Uh, the guideline was it's too difficult when you use lambda. It's too difficult when you use std forward. It's too difficult when you use std-ref. There are a lot of pitfalls. Be careful, be careful, be careful. I was very surprised when I read the book because I was feeling it was becoming more difficult than ever to learn C++.
There are lots of people who want to show how clever they are by showing you the most obscure and difficult techniques. Obviously, that's not what I try to do.
Surprised because all the items from this Addison Wesley Red Book, which was not an Addison Wesley. It was an O'Reilly thing. It was an O'Reilly. Uh, the guideline was it's too difficult when you use lambda. It's too difficult when you use std forward. It's too difficult when you use std ref. There are a lot of pitfalls. Be careful, be careful, be careful. I was very surprised when I read the book because I was feeling it was becoming more difficult than ever to learn C++.
There are lots of people who want to show how clever they are by showing you the most obscure and difficult techniques. Yes, I mean, the threads library was from C++11, sort of just making a type-safe version of what had been used by on Windows and on POSIX for the previous about 20 years. But now it's type-safe and it's portable.
Yes.
That's new and that's a major help to people writing that kind of software.
Yes, previously we used to. Yes, previously we used to use the Intel thread building blocks library for
Mhm.
for having no such problem with threads and parallel container stuff. And the thing that the compiler vendors give some extension, and then at the next upgrade, everything is in the core package. That's very interesting because there is no more extension, no more specific Microsoft, or there is no stuff like that with Unix and Linux. But in the Microsoft land, sometimes we have dedicated products, and it's always difficult to see that. I rather prefer to use the standard ISO C++ compiler,
Of
and
course, that the developer needs. For instance, in this space, I would very much like an SHQ, and it's not in the standard because they they said it was there wasn't time to do it. Uh, Maybe we'll get it.
yes, because in the Unix land, we what do you think about the popularity of the Boost library? Recently, for a customer, a large European French bank, I have done Unix C++ programming with Boost on an old IBM iX computer, and we used a Boost library from 2007. It was an old XLC compiler, C++ compiler. But what do you think about Boost?
As it is, the standard has absorbed what I think are the most useful parts of Boost, and a lot of people are trying to get out of Boost using just the standard because Boost is too big and a lot of the designs are over-designed, and as I said, the best parts are now the standard.
Yes, but for example, Boost ASIO maybe will be in C++ network.
Yes, it will be network 23. It should have been C++ 17, but there isn't. Um, Use it in production, but I think most people should use the version of SU that's built for the TM, the technical environment for the standard. That's freestanding and independent of the resolution. And a lot of people are doing that.
Yes, I understand.
The problem with Boost is there's so much in it, and you get it on board, you can't get just parts of it, you get the whole thing, and then some junior developer picks up some minor bit that you don't know about and makes a hash of it.
Yes, it's will take everything in your face.
Yeah, it would be much, much better if you would say, I want these three components out of Boost, and I'm going to use them. I'm going to validate them, and I'm not going to upgrade upgrade them if I want to upgrade them. As
Yes.
it is, you have to take the whole thing and you have to take if you want to upgrade on one of the components you're using, you have to download the whole thing. And we don't know what happens for the other parts of it. And
And
it's
yes.
really nice.
And yes. And more, you have to take the boost string, the boost vector, the boost container, the boost, the all of the beginning. For I
Many
remember.
a time, but they should have improved some of the deployment logic.
Yeah. Okay, I understand.
Maybe they will one of these days, you never know.
You would you say that boost was good for the years 2005, 2010, but now it should be deprecated?
In the early 2000s. And there's still maybe places where it is important, like if you don't have an open standard C++. But I think that at least as a monolith, the time has passed it by.
Okay, I understand. I understand. Um, I have a question because this is my favorite topics on the Windows land. It's the user interface, it's the fact to build a beautiful application with the ribbon, with the all layer 2 technology instead of an application word into Excel, edit document, multi document interface. My question is, what about user interface framework? This is the little dirty duck of the C++. With
Simply, the reason C++ don't have standard user interfaces is simply because we have in the committee owners of maybe four or five of the major frameworks, and they don't actually want to standardize. They want their own. In the early days, they thought they could mostly know the world, each of them, and of course they couldn't. And so we have a multiplicity of quite decent user interfaces, but we don't have a standard, and I don't think we can get a standard. It's too big for the committee, and it is politically and commercially too difficult to do.
I know that. I know the answer. It was impossible. But when you see the people in the mobile land, they are they succeed into building common user interface with some language, and on the back we have got the web restful API. And for example, when you have to do video and image processing, there is a C++ library, there is an OpenGL, there is a Flutter, there is an HTML. It's the jungle. User interface, it's the
It's,
jungle.
yes, it's a jungle, it's a wild west, it's a mess. We have 25 tools where you would like one. We know what the problem is. It's just that I don't see a solution.
Okay, I understand. I understand. It's a no solution. It's a problem. It's a problem.
Yes, there's too many people who want different things.
I have a little tricky question about file system. Uh, do you think it will be possible to manage the security of files with file system standard feature namespace? Is it possible to make Windows security, Linux security, a portable thing? Do you see what I mean? I
I
want.
see what you mean. I believe the answer is that the file system library simply makes it easier to use traditional file systems. Unfortunately, traditional file is that most of the file systems themselves can be secure, or we will give them a better way of using them. But we found some of the security problems across a wide range of systems, but the systems are not secure.
Okay, I understand. It's a good answer.
C++ is a way of expressing things, a language. It is not the underlying system.
Yes, it can't be give this Windows source code, give this Unix source code, give this Macintosh source code. Yes, it's not the boost cathedral.
Once they fix their security problems, we will be there.
Okay. I have to take care about how I spell my sentence because of the NDA about Windows source code. But what I want to tell you is that Microsoft is investing a lot on modern C++ inside the Windows source code.
I know that.
In Windows 10, we have some. Yes, in Windows 10, we have a new set of controls which is called Metro. It's a XAML. It's a pessimistic minimalist user interface library, and a lot of functions behavior bring by C++ handlers are made with Lambda, are made with C++ Windows runtime. It's mixed with COM technology, which is a portable C++ class. It's used with it's used with auto, it's used with string, it's used with vector. And I learned the Microsoft source code since 15 years, and in the early days, it was only Windows type and Win32. And now Windows programmers are using the ISO C++. Don't you think
Yes.
it's a big win for the quality of the code?
I think some credit to the C++ team at Windows, and some credit to the Windows team, the Edge team, and things like that that's picked up and managed to transition from the very old styles to more modern styles. I believe that the core guidelines are helping a bit there.
Yes, because in the Microsoft land, a lot of people declare a struct, a pointer, and they go the old way. It's like they were written assembly language. It's a daddy C++. It's pointer functions. It was macro. It was Win32.
Things. People always confuse the simple and the familiar. If it's familiar, they think it's simple, even if it is very convoluted and complicated. And if it is new, they think it's complicated, even if it's fundamentally simple. It takes a long, long time to move community along. And they have all the old code they still have to do. It's nice.
It's not. Yes. I have one last question, and I don't, and I am finished. Could you give me your opinion about the new language? For example, the native language, the Rust, the the Kotlin, the Java, the .NET. What are you thinking? Are even JavaScript? What are you thinking about all this popular stuff, which are making the employment of the engineers and which are in the spotlight with every company marketing telling do JavaScript, do Kotlin, do Java, do .NET. And I know it because I live in the Microsoft world. For example, Microsoft make promotion of Kubernetes and Linux. It's schizophrenia. They want to kill Windows. You see how does it works. So what is your appreciation of the modern world of programming?
Logic, but so it was in the past. It's good that there's good good ideas. It's good that there's new things. We don't have a perfect programming language, not C++, not any of the others. So we need to experiment. On the other hand, people get overexcited by new things. The new things always look as if they have no problems. And then when you use them, you find that a lot of the old problems are still there and they'll be incomplete and things like that. So you have to be careful. So I like my experimentation, but I'm fairly cautious for building things that has to last for decades. And I, yeah, and I'm not going to comment in detail about the design of the various languages. There's far too many languages for me to do that.
Understand. I understand. I am myself in the world of the .NET consulting, and my C++ skills allows me to debug application because when there is something on the back end on the server, you are you and the operating system, and you rely on Windows debuggers, you rely on C++ source code and assembly, and all the skills of the virtual machine of the .NET framework and everything, it goes away. You know how the operating system works, or you don't know. And I understand you don't want to talk about the other language, but when on the MVP channel, I asked Herbsters to give him its opinion about Rust that could be incorporated in the C kernel. Herbster told me, Christophe, there are believers. The believers, you can't talk to them. It's a church relationship. They have their new language. They believe a lot, and
So from taking discussions to congregating, um, it's not particularly new either. You should have seen the people with Java in the early days. It was a very rival meeting. And of course, the functional programmers are a bit like that sometimes, some of them. I've even seen C++ programmers that got that way, and I discouraged it.
yeah, it's very difficult sometimes because when you see a marketing corporation like Microsoft tells that C++ is unsecure and unsafe for the fact to sell .NET programming language, I am very sad because the marketing is doing mistakes. It's not the way it should work.
The marketing doesn't often know very much. And I mean, just off the major like with Java, they claim it is secure, it's safe, and you don't actually have to have well-educated programmers to use it because cheap programmers can write in it. And the sales pitches haven't changed much over the years. I actually think that education should separate sort of application developers from infrastructure developers. The infrastructure is very close to the classic engineering and should require high-level skills than doing simple applications. If you're building things that lives depend on, you better do it well.
Okay, okay, I'm good, I'm good. I would like to thank you very much for the time and your patience because the broken link of the internet. Uh, I will take the time to hear the recorder voice and send to you the transcript. Uh,
Okay.